Salary negotiation, what do? You see, most of the information out there they're sharing with you how do you negotiate salary is coming from an employee perspective. Today I'm going to share with you, coming from a CEO perspective, how do you negotiate salary? Salary negotiation tip number 1, do not try to negotiate salary increase in text or in email. Because when you're negotiating salary, when you do it through an email, it's very easy to communicate the wrong way. It's very easy to come across too aggressive. Maybe that's not your intent, but reading, you cannot communicate your tone, your emotions. So do your very best. If you could, do it face-to-face or do it through a telephone. You want to practice ahead of the time, right? To practice multiple times. And then when you go in there, you're ready. Whatever objections that you may face, you're ready to go. Salary negotiation tip number 2, come to the meeting with facts and not feelings. You see, most employees, they come to the meeting and they say something like this. Well, I feel like I have been around a long time. I feel like I've been contributing. And then I feel like I deserve more pay. That does not work because that's feeling. You gotta come to the meeting with facts. What have you done? You should do your research ahead of time. What are some of the contributions you have made to the company? Let's say, hypothetically, you are a social media manager. You manage the company's social media account. You go to the CEO with facts and say, okay, since my employment here, here's what I've done. I have grown the company's Instagram account by 527% since I was here. Here are things that I've done. Now you're speaking from facts. You're demonstrating, look, these are the contributions that I have made to the company in the last 1 year, 2 years, things like that. So come to the meeting with facts and not feelings. Salary negotiation tip number 3, ask questions, don't make statements, because it would sound like and feel like you are justifying. You're presenting your case, but you always want to be asking questions. Whoever asks the questions controls the conversation. So you want to be asking leading questions, discovery questions, probing questions. You're asking the employer by getting more information, by kind of gauging how they're feeling about the different requests that you might have. When you're asking questions, it would feel much more like a collaboration effort, that we're on the same page, right? So ask questions, don't make statements. Salary negotiation tip number 4, and that is set the agenda. What it means is, where is this gonna go? What is the purpose of this meeting? What is the outcome? What are we trying to accomplish? As an employee, you wanna set the agenda, set the tone. So you could say something like this, Mr. Employer, I'm very excited to be joining your company. Do you mind if we talk about compensation for a second? See, I ask a question. Oh, not a problem, sure. You see, Mr. Employer, based on my research, for someone with hires with my background and credentials and my skill sets, the market rate is X amount of dollars, this much per year. How do you feel about that? You see how I'm asking a question? And then, right from there, the CEO, the employee would say, well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Or they might say that's a little bit higher than what we have budgeted for. But then you're not guessing. You're not afraid. Salary negotiation tip number 5, and that is don't be needy. Do not use words like, I want or I need. I see this a lot. I want overtime, or I need this and I need that. It's a big turnoff for the employer. Nobody gives a shit what you need, right? A much more powerful thing you could say is, I would be more comfortable with. So example, let's say the job, you want $55,000 and the job pays $50,000. First of all, you could say, well, is there any flexibility with that? And then you could say, then I would be more comfortable with $55K a year. Would you be comfortable with that? How do you feel about that? Do you hear the difference? When you're in negotiation, you want to be neutral. Neutral, you are friendly, but you're firm, you're not attached. The key thing is here, not to be attached. Salary negotiation tip number 6, and that is become more valuable. As an employee, you want to find ways to always upgrade your skills. What can you bring more to the table? Now, some CEOs, they have no hesitation to pay more to competent, high-performance employees because good people are hard to find. And as a CEO, we look for return. We call that return on human capital. If I'm spending $1 on this employee, how much is this employee bringing in for the company? Every single person is responsible for generating revenue. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter video production. Doesn't matter social media. Now, if you're not so sure, sometimes you could ask the CEO, what can I do to bring more value to the company? Be very clear what the CEO wants. Be very clear what his vision is and how can you solve problems for him or her. Better yet, how do you solve problems for him or her ahead of the time, before even the problem comes up? You do that, you become invaluable to the company. When you become invaluable to a company, I promise you, pay is not an issue. Salary negotiation tip number 7, and that is paint a picture in the CEO's mind. Let's say you're now negotiating and you're getting a no. Now turn that into a question. Ask, what is going to happen? What would be his or her expectations? You want to say something like this: Mr. Employer, my goal, my vision for this company here, for this organization is I want to be your most valuable team member. Help me to understand. Right now I'm making $50,000 a year, and my goal is to get to $60,000 a year. Can you coach me? Can you show me? Can you tell me what would it take for me to earn $70,000 a year? See, the minute you say that, now the CEO is thinking, wow, I have an ambitious person here who is hungry for success, who is not just asking because demanding pay. So how can I help this person become more successful? How can I help this person to earn? And then now the CEO would tell you, I would expect these things to happen. I would expect these milestones. I would expect these KPIs. And then you say, Mr. Employer, let's just pretend, suppose I could do this and this and this and this and this and this is everything you've laid out. So you would be comfortable paying me $70,000 a year if I could do all of that for you. Is that what I'm hearing from you? And they'll say, yeah, absolutely. Boom, right there, you've gotten a commitment. Not to be just a typical employee mentality, but to be a team member, to be a high performance individual. Solving problems before the problem comes up. You do that. If the CEO is truly a good leader, their CEO will give you a higher pay because you don't need to ask for it. Everybody knows who is high performance or not. So those are the 7 tips on how to negotiate a higher salary.